some different rooms. This is a full circle moment for myself and Mr. Vandermeulen, and we are beyond thrilled to have Miss Alice Chun here. One thing that we've been working on all this year is looking at the intersection of science, humanity, communication, and progress. And oftentimes science is celebrated, such as our recent Mars landing and COVID vaccines, but sometimes science is also criticized. Students, if you remember last month, we wrapped up our energy unit looking at the idea of energy poverty. We shared the story of Solight Design and its founder, Alice Chun. Solight manufactures a solar lantern, the Solar Puff, which they bring to communities affected by energy poverty and climate-related crises. Based on origami principles, solar puffs self-inflate and provide light without the need of electricity. So in class, we watched the brief documentary and listened to the story about Miss Chun and her journey. And afterwards, the students completed a Canvas discussion. Mr. Vandermeulen and I were blown away by your heartfelt and empathetic responses. So inspired by that, I wrote a letter to Solight, just explaining what we'd done and thanking them for what they're doing to help the world. And imagine my surprise when last week I received an email from Miss Alice Chun offering to give up her time and to meet with us today. So here we are now. This is the silver lining to a year stuck on Zoom, because we would not be able to do this. And may we all be continued to be inspired to pursue scientific endeavors to lift up everyone in our global communities. So fellow Highlanders, thank you, and please help me welcome Miss Alice Chun.
You know, I have so much respect for all of the teachers that are online today and pursuing their vigilant quest to share knowledge and give so much to the students out there, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. I can't say enough how important it is to have such a responsive and amazing group of this community coming together. This is the Solar Puff. I'm sure you've might have seen this already, but again, it's flat packs and pops open into a cube. No batteries needed for 3 to 5 years because everything is solar. And this one, I think you have this one as well, but this one also has a light sensor so that I'm actually covering up the sensor, and when I take my hand off, it turns off. So this is our new version, and again, it flat packs. And then we have another product that we just launched a few years ago, a couple of years ago. It's called the Quinn. And my son is named Quinn, so I named it after my son because he's the light of my life. But this is the Quinn, and it opens up to a large dome. And it's completely solar. And you can also charge your phone here. So here you can see the solar panels are quite large compared to the Solar Puff, which is very small. So you need that amount of area to collect energy from the sun so that it'll charge that battery. If that solar panel is small, it'll take weeks to charge a battery enough to charge your phone or give light for a long extended period of time. So we designed this with 2 butterfly solar panels to be sure that we can charge this battery in a decent amount of time in one day as opposed to 2 weeks. The whole idea of innovation and opportunity has to do with time. And the Greeks believed that there were 2 characters of time. One was called Kronos, and he was old and with a beard, and he was constant and predictable. And then you have another character of time. His name is Kairos, and the word chaos comes from Kairos. And this character was very young, and he had wings on his feet, and he flew and flit about, and he had a bald head so that you couldn't catch him by his hair from behind. And so Kairos is someone that is unpredictable, and you can see the line of Kairos down here is going up and down, and you can't catch that line of time because it's always unpredictable. But Chronos is consistent and straight. So when those two lines of time intersect, those are the moments of opportunity. Those are the moments of invention. And those of you who can see that opportunity and act on that have the opportunity to change the world. And that's where invention starts. So everything is interconnected. The human species, we're all interconnected, every human across the planet. And if you think about it, what do we do every day that connects us to every single person around the world? We breathe air, and that air travels all the way across the world. And unfortunately, because of climate change, which I know that everyone there has been studying the effects of, pollution is caused by energy consumption, everything from kerosene lanterns that are being used for lighting to the energy that it costs and expends to charge your cell phones. So one of the things that happen in the United States and in the first world countries is that 13 megatons, equivalent to the current annual emissions of 1.1 million cars, that is what is caused by just charging cell phones. But yet we have the sun, which is the most powerful source of energy that comes to the earth every day. It can melt a bridge of ice from earth to the moon in a nanosecond. It has enough power to give everyone on the planet, 7 billion people, a light that will shine bright for your entire lifetime. And then across the globe, we have so many regions living in extreme poverty, and they're using this thing here. I took this picture myself when I went to Lagos, Nigeria, to a place called Makoko, which is a floating slum, which is undocumented on any map. But if you look at satellite pictures, you can see this community is about 250,000 people living on the water. And you see here, they were lighting their nights with a jug of kerosene and then lighting a rope. And that's how they lit their night at night. And so everything is interconnected, and we all have the power to create change. So with all of these components of interconnectivity, energy consumption actually creates so much carbon emissions that every urban context has many, many children that end up with asthma. And my son was one of them living in New York City. You know, they say that the mother of invention is what? Necessity. And then the daughter of invention is curiosity. And so and it's kind of odd, isn't it? Because those are two female characters. So, but oddly enough, if you look at the research, and I encourage all the students to every day learn something new and research as much as possible about what's happening in the world, and consider that if you see a problem, you have the opportunity to do something about it. So right now, only 8% of primary inventors listed as women in the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's really, really low. So I want to encourage every single girl, every single young woman out there to thrive and harness your ferocity and unleash your imagination, unleash your power and your willingness to help others and make lives better. Because Invention, again, has to do with understanding people's needs, understanding problems, and then looking at the solutions to those problems that we have now and making them better, to challenge what's out there and create a better world through harnessing your imagination, your discipline, your perseverance, your grit, and your passion. And most of all, I want to stress that one of the most important things that you should harness is your empathy. We want to get away from petrol-based plastics. I think my son at the age of 12 told me that he said, "Mom, stop buying any clothing or pants with polyester because when you put it in the wash, little bits of plastic go into the ocean and it kills all of the coral reefs." And I was kind of stunned and also excited because this is your generation. And with this knowledge, there's so much that you can do. The etymology of technology comes from techne and logos. And techne means the art or the connection or the arc or the joint. And so the origins of technology as a word means the poetics of making. And so, again, going back to your imagination and your creativity, that it's all connected to technology as well. And so we've had the privilege of helping people all over the world. Once we started our company back in 2015, we were able to do a Kickstarter and we raised about $500,000 in 30 days. And right when we were launching this product on Kickstarter, the Nepal earthquake happened. And we quickly turned our campaign around to say, look, please help Nepal. And we were able to get about 2,000 lights to Nepal. And these are some of the pictures from our volunteers that went there to deliver them. And then this is a picture of a mother and child in Kenya. And we work with different nonprofit organizations all over the world. This is a couple from a Syrian refugee camp in Greece. So we decided to partner with two organizations in Austin and San Antonio to get light to mothers and children that are homeless and maybe on the street, basically just to the most vulnerable communities, because we believe it's the right thing to do. And we always start with a set of values that deal with empathy, with communication, with education, with integrity. And our values are so important. In fact, they're the principles of why we end up starting any kind of endeavor. And everything goes back to those values, because it's so hard to develop a company, to be in a state of entrepreneurship. And if you don't have those values, most people will give up if you don't have that passion for what you're doing. So whatever you do, I plead with you to find, what do you love and what are you passionate about? What gives you energy? This is another picture of how our products are helping children do their homework at night, and also give power now with the Quinn, because we have a power bank in the Quinn. Saving about 146 football stadiums filled with carbon emissions if we all started charging our phones with the sun. The plastic gyre in the North Pacific, that is an island filled with plastic. And we all had a hand in that. Each one of us individually took part in making that happen. And that's the demise of our climate. But I believe that we all have the power to heal the planet. We can heal the planet together, individually, together, and collectively. And that's the power of what we're doing today, to be able to share this and spread the word this is another problem that happened this past year with the pandemic. And I saw a terrible, terrible problem with the masks that we were using. First of all, I'm a material specialist. I used to teach material technology, and the masks are all made out of polypropylene, which is a plastic that will never degrade in a landfill. Yet right now, there's about 5.2 billion masks that end up in the oceans because of the single-use masks. And then we have the doctors that have incredible bruises on their faces because of the pressure that's required to make those masks effective. And so this is the problem that I saw, and I decided, okay, what can we do about this? And I turned my kitchen into a lab. I made 58 prototypes. I made 100 different filters. And luckily, I was able to create a new type of filter that's not using polypropylene, but only using natural materials of bamboo and silk. And designed a transparent mask so that we could see each other again, and also help the hearing impaired and the deaf, because they can't communicate unless they can see our faces and our emotions and create that social connection. Of our prototype of the new mask, we call it the See Us 95. Let's go back to that little place where we used to go in the summer days. We dip our feet at the water's edge, and everyone would come along to meet us. So the main issue with this, the innovation with this mask, is that you don't need ear loops or a head harness. It just sticks directly to your face. And the material that's being used is used already in scar tissue healing tape, and also anti-wrinkle patches that are used in beauty products. And what we did is hybridize that material with the mask so that it heals your skin as opposed to harming your skin, and also acts as an adhesive so that you have an airtight seal without needing the ear loops or the pressure on your face anymore. So I just wanted to share this last thing with all of you, which is a short video of how I got into Hillary Clinton's book called The Book of Gutsy Women. And when I met Hillary, it was, you know, I love Hillary. She's amazing. I can't say enough about how much she has helped women all over the world for decades, since she was actually in college. And I met her in Puerto Rico after we were able to get over 100,000 lights to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. And it's a partnership that we started a long time ago with the Clinton Foundation when the Haiti earthquake happened back in 2010. So it was years of building relationships and continuing, you know, with empathy in every act that we do. This is in Dominica.
Which she invented herself. Okay? That is very, very special.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's called the solar pump. And I invented this. How many of you have light at night at home? How many of you need light at night at home? How many? All of you. I am a mother, as well as a professor, and I'm also the CEO of a company called Solight Design. We're here to give you the gift of light. I want you to be warriors of light. When I was trying to get this made, there were so many people that came to me and said, "You're not good enough. You can't do this. You're not smart enough. You don't have experience." And you know what I did? I fought. You will have your dreams. That you can do anything if you fight with the light in here and the light in here. Do you believe you can? Yes. You use this light. Think about the light inside your imagination and the light in your heart. And you can never give up. You can never give up. As we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I just want to say that I believe everyone is a light warrior and the world, and I have so much faith in all of you that you have, and I can't wait to hear and see what you're going to do.
Thank you so much. I'm shaking right now with just all the emotions. So this has been incredible. We had the students ask some questions through Google Form. I thought that would be easier. So I have a list of them now. Is that okay, Ms. Chun?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So Stephanie wanted to know, would you change anything about your journey with Solight if you could?
Yes, I would. I guess, that's kind of a trick question. So in the end, I'm kind of grateful for where we are right now and for everything that I've learned. I've made a lot of mistakes. Nothing has been easy, but, and so I have to say that I'm grateful for where we are right now, and I wouldn't change that. But if I were to change something, and it has to do with each one of you, I can't stress enough that everyone should really pay attention to your intuition, your gut, and your belief in yourself, because many times when you put yourself out into the world, you have, even on things like Instagram or Facebook, you're always going to have people that are naysayers, that don't believe in the things that you believe. And I want everyone to know that that's okay. But you are empowered. You have the power to make that decision on how it affects you. And don't let people put you down. Don't let people say no. That with your mind, with that, if you fight like a light warrior with the light of your imagination and your hearts, harness that intuition, harness that gut. And that's something that I did not do when I was younger. And I would encourage everyone else to try to do that earlier on.
I agree so much. Thank you. It's very good advice. Another question. So Rio asked, how much does the pandemic affect you from delivering light in places of need? A couple students chimed in about the pandemic. What's changed now?
So we did have a group that needed our help in Los Angeles, and it was a group of medics that were in a parking lot outside the LA stadium, and they set up little tents they had lines of people 5 blocks long waiting for the vaccine, and they were working till the late hours of the night, and they had no light, and they asked us for light, and we shipped it to them. We paid for priority shipping for 2-day shipping, and it took 3 weeks for them to get it. So that was very agonizing for us, because whenever someone asks us for help, we really want to try to, react quickly. But the USPS they let us down, unfortunately, but they have them now. So other than that, the delays with shipping, that was the major thing.
So Natalie asked, what was the hardest part of creating a mass production product?
So that's a really great question, because that's one of the hardest things to do, because it's one thing when you build a prototype on your own and you test it and you make something by hand or you make it locally, But to get to mass production and to get it to market, there's so many different factors that you have to take into account, such as the cost, such as the market value, such as the proof of concept, which is being able to identify and make sure that people would actually buy your product and find it useful. So all of these things take testing and time. And in terms of mass production, and then you go into mass production after you do that research, lots and lots of research before that to make it viable. And then once you find the right manufacturer, and sometimes you might have to find a few of them. Some of them might not work out. It's kind of like dating. The first one might not work out because of one thing or another. They don't show up to calls, or they, miss deadlines, or they're not responsive. So it's all a process, and it's all, about learning through your experience as well.
I love that. Several students asked about the origami fact of Solight. And so they were curious about how you came up with the idea to use origami, and if origami was something you had done previous to this.
Absolutely. So I'm Korean, and my mother taught me origami when I was a little girl, and I used to do it all the time. And in fact, I love the fact that my son is actually an origami expert now. But origami, the philosophy behind origami is that a fold is structure. And origami is also mathematics, and it's also art, and it's also a kind of science as well. But what I love about it is that the logic of folding and proportion and the mathematics behind it still, gives you leeway for imagination and creating anything. So the philosophy behind that blank piece of paper is that it has the most potential at that moment before you crease it or you draw on it. It has that moment is you can do anything with that piece of paper. And through fighting with your imagination and your heart, you can create beauty, awe, and design something that will help people. And the solar puff came from the origami balloon, which is a very simple origami.
So several students were wondering what it was like to give out the lamps. And I know that maybe you're not, maybe you do, I don't know, but
Actually,
what were some of the, you do, that's, oh, I love that. What were some of the regions, in what region were the people that you gave the lanterns to the happiest? Like, is there a certain area that really, strikes a deep chord with you?
Well, no matter what, whether there's volunteers or nonprofits that deliver, we always ask them to send photographs of the delivery or videos. So, I've seen videos where small villages in the hilltops of Nepal have started dancing and singing and crying because they had light for the first time in weeks, after an earthquake. Myself, I've actually delivered to Puerto Rico and Dominica and Haiti, and many times when we were down in Dominica and Puerto Rico, we went to the hillsides where you don't even get cell tower, no bars on your phone, and it's very disheartening to see people in a state where they're very powerless and scared, and by giving them light, their eyes bright, their eyes just light up and they start smiling and laughing, and there's so much to celebrate, and many times there's tears, and part of the tears is really about going back to empathy again. They feel that they're loved, and when they get that light, it stays with them for much longer than the power outage or the situation that they've been in. And so that power is really amazing, and just the, you know, with everyone that works at Solight, we have an amazing team of people that are on that work for Solight, and they're all just as excited about getting those photos back. And we can't wait to get the photos back from Texas because we just shipped those out.
I think you're amazing, and I know I speak for our community here. What a gift this was to have you, and thank you so much, Miss.
Thank you so much. Your story is so inspiring, and I was just really nice to hear you talk today. So
oh